and welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Kiki.
And today we're going to talk about the wonderful world of pancakes.
Whoa, so Matt, what's a pancake?
Well, pancake is a type of cake that's fried in a pan. It's usually eaten for breakfast.
Breakfast?
Breakfast. A breakfast, the first meal of the day, the meal that gets you going and gives you the energy for the day. And so some people eat pancakes, but how about you, Kiki? What do you like to eat for breakfast?
Well, for breakfast, I usually like to start with a nice glass of juice, that's for sure. Okay. And probably some eggs, scrambled eggs, and hash brown. I love hash brown. What about you, Matt?
Wow, that sounds like you got the complete meal there. You've got your eggs for protein, you've got your juice and fruit, and then the hash brown, some carbohydrates. That's great. I just have a big bowl of cereal.
Cereal?
Yeah.
What's your favorite cereal?
I like Fruit Loops. I also like this one called Cookie Crunch, where it's just little cookies. It's all just cookies, so you just eat cookies for breakfast.
Right. Actually, for cereal, I used to have Honey Stars in Singapore.
Okay.
But I also like Captain Crunch.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And you know the best part about cereal is drinking that milk after you're done with all your cereal. At least that's what I do.
So that's, especially with the very sweet cereals, you get the very sweet milk after. Right. When I was a kid, my mom wouldn't let me get the very sweet cereal. So I couldn't have the cookie cereal when I was a kid. So now that I'm all grown up, I can eat all the cookie cereal I want.
Well, talking about all this breakfast makes me hungry, and I'm thinking about my favorite type of pancake.
What's that?
The confetti pancake.
It's a confetti pancake.
Well, it's a pancake and you put sprinkles in it. So, talking about confetti pancake, we're going to learn more about pancakes today, right?
Sounds great. So I think we'll get into our article, The Wonderful World of Pancakes.
Are you ready for a fun food adventure? We're about to dig into the wonderful world of pancakes. Prehistoric pancake. You might be surprised to learn that pancakes date back at least 5,200 years. An examination of Ötzi the Iceman, whose frozen body was found in the Italian mountains in 1991, showed that he had eaten an early kind of pancake. Snowy treats. Before baking soda was commonly used, some people used snow to cook their pancakes. The cold snow would turn to steam during cooking, and the steam would create air pockets and make the pancakes fluffy.
Hello everyone, today we are looking at part 1 of the wonderful world of pancakes. So we are of course talking about pancakes, and pancake is our first vocabulary word. So pancake is a noun, and it is a dough that is usually made from a liquid and then flour and then sometimes eggs, and it's fried in a pan, and it's fried on both sides. So there are many different kinds of pancakes, many different cakes you can make in a pan, and many different flavors you can have. But as I am from Canada, when I think of pancakes, I typically think of this flour, milk, and egg dough that is fried in a pan, and it's something that we eat for breakfast. So for example, I love having pancakes with honey and fresh fruit for breakfast. But actually, I really also like pancakes with chocolate chips, so little pieces of chocolate inside. And when it comes out hot, they're all still melted and it's delicious.
That sounds really yummy.
Yep. So let's get into our article. Are you ready for a fun food adventure? We're about to dig into the wonderful world of pancakes.
Well, here's our second word for today, which is adventure. And it is a noun. So usually an adventure is very unusual and an exciting or daring experience. Sometimes it's associated with danger or taking risks. So we know that explorers, they would go on adventures to discover new things. And because that's dangerous and unknown, right? That is an adventure. So an example would be they went on an exciting adventure to find the hidden treasure.
Okay, well, I hope this pancake adventure isn't too dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I think in this case, it's more that it's unknown. It's what we don't know about pancakes. So it's not going to be dangerous, so don't worry.
Well, I don't know what I would do with a pancake. Maybe I'll throw it at you. Well, back to our article. Prehistoric pancake. Prehistoric? Does that mean pancakes go way, way back to a long time ago, Matt?
I guess it must, because this word prehistoric has pre, which means before, and historic referring to history or recorded history. So this means from a time before people were writing down what happened. So from a time before we really have any accounts or any knowledge passed down by other people.
Interesting. So let's continue with the article. You might be surprised to learn that pancakes date back at least 5,200 years.
Wow, I mean, that's a very long time. But I guess if you think about it, being as a pancake is quite a simple cake. It's just having some kind of grain and a liquid and then frying it in a pan. As long as they have kind of fire and a pan to make it on, it's not too hard to imagine that people were doing this a long time ago. An examination of Ötzi the Iceman, whose frozen body was found in the Italian mountains in 1991, showed that he had eaten an early kind of pancake. Okay, so an interesting way to find out that, finding this frozen Iceman. So frozen is another vocabulary word, and it is an adjective meaning the liquid has turned to ice, so a liquid inside something, for example, inside the body of Ötzi the Iceman, that liquid has turned to ice, so now he has become frozen. So another example sentence, frozen vegetables are just as healthy as fresh ones.
That's true, because usually when they freeze the vegetables, it's when the vegetables are at their perfect state. So they're actually fresh, frozen vegetables. All right, so back to our topic, snowy treats. Before baking soda was commonly used, some people used snow to cook their pancakes.
Using snow to cook? That doesn't sound right, but let's see how they did it. The cold snow would turn to steam during cooking, and the steam would create air pockets and make the pancakes fluffy.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so they're turning to steam. So you're putting the frozen bits of snow into the dough before cooking so that when they heat up, it will turn to steam. So steam is water that has turned to a vapor or has turned to a gas after being heated. So steam will rise from a boiling pot of water, or anytime you heat something up that has liquid inside it, you might see steam rising from it. So an example sentence, the steam from the pot of boiling water is hot. And it needs to be, steam is always hot.
Right.
So you'll need to be careful around steam. But it's interesting that you can use steam to make the bubbles in a pancake even before they had baking powder. So I think we're going to learn some more about the history around pancakes when we come back after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程会带我们深入探索煎饼的世界，来一趟有趣的美食探险。那我们先来看看单字 pancake。pancake 就是薄煎饼或是美式松饼。那么 adventure 它表示危险、冒险经历或是奇遇。Kiki 老师呢，他有用到 daring 这个形容词 D-A-R-I-N-G， 那它可以形容大胆的、勇于冒险的。好，那我们现在就先从史前的煎饼开始介绍。煎饼的历史呢，至少可以追溯到5200年前。在1991年，人们在意大利山区发现了冰人奥兹冰冻的尸体。 那检查结果发现啊，他吃过一种早期的煎饼哦。好，单字 frozen 它就是形容结冰的、冷冻的。那么课文接着就写到说，在小苏打被广泛使用之前，有些人是用雪来制作煎饼诶。这个冰冷的雪在烹煮过程中呢，会变成蒸汽，那么蒸汽就会产生气孔，使这个煎饼会变得蓬松，就不需要小苏打粉了。那么看到 steam 这个名词呢，它表示蒸汽，是不可数名词，它也可以当动词来表达冒蒸汽或者是蒸的那个动作。Matt 老师他用到 vapor 这个字 ，vapor， vapor 可以表达蒸汽或是水汽。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 date back， 它是指起源、追溯或是回溯的意思。那以下介绍2种用法。第一种，我们可以用 date back 加一段时间，那就是表达说一段时间之前就开始怎么样怎么样。像 This tradition dates back 700 years， 这个传统可追溯至700年前，那就是从700年前开始这样。好，那第二个用法是 date back to 加上某时期或年代，这可以表达追溯至点点点。例如 This tradition dates back to the 14th century， 这个传统可追溯至14世纪。好，那第二个重点是whose 当所有格关系代名词，它是指什么什么的，那后面就要接名词。所引导的形容词子句呢，可以用来修饰或补述说明先行词。这个先行词可以是人或事物。我们以下介绍2种用法。好，第一个就是当你的先行词是非特定的对象，那 whose 引导的形容词子句就是要来修饰这个先行词，去限定它的范围咯。那 whose 前面不需要加逗号，它是属于限定用法。例如 The man whose car was stolen was very angry， 那名车子被偷的男子非常生气。好，那第二个用法是当你的先行词是特定的对象 ，whose 引导的形容词子句是用来补述说明先行词，因为对象明确，我们不用限定范围了。那这时候 whose 的前面要加逗号，那这是属于非限定用法。例如 The police were talking to my neighbor， 逗号 whose car was stolen， 警方正在跟我的邻居谈话，他的车子被偷了。好，接着回到课文中。
A grand cake. The world's biggest pancake was 15 meters wide and 2.5 centimeters thick, and it weighed as much as an African elephant. It was so large that heavy machinery was needed to flip it. The Pancake Man. In 1999, an American man who was named Dominic Mike Kuzakria ran a long-distance race while flipping a pancake. He finished the race in just over 3 hours. Then, in 2010, he set a record for the highest pancake toss, around 9.5 meters in the air.
Welcome back. Let's continue talking about the wonderful world of pancakes. A grand cake. The world's biggest pancake was 15 meters wide and 2.5 centimeters thick, and it weighed as much as an African elephant. It was so large that heavy machinery was needed to flip it.
Wow, so it's 15 meters wide, but it's still only 2.5 centimeters thick, so it's pretty much like a normal pancake in its thickness.
Yeah.
But it's like a hugely wide. So I can see how that would be very heavy when it's spread out over such a wide area, and that they actually needed machinery to fix it. In this case, heavy machinery.
Right.
So machinery is a word that means when machines or a large group of mechanical objects are working together to do something. So in this case, it needs some kind of mechanical thing to pick up the pancake and turn it over to flip it.
And usually, I guess in this case, it would need a special type of machinery, right? Well, we're not sure what type of machinery they used, but since the pancake was so wide, but it's not very thick, it must be very flimsy,
so
right?
Be careful not to break it when you're flipping it.
So maybe they made the machinery into something special that they could actually kind of slide under it, and then flip it. So flipping it is the action when you want to turn something over, right, to the other side.
That's right. So our next heading is The Pancake Man. In 1999, an American man who is named Dominic Mike Kutsakria ran a long-distance race while flipping a pancake.
Wow. So he was running and flipping?
Right, as we mentioned, flipping is turning the pancake over, so he's running with a pan and a pancake in it and flipping the pancake as he runs.
Wow, that's really cool. He finished the race in just over 3 hours. Then, in 2010, he set a record for the highest pancake toss, which was around 9.5 meters in the air.
Wow, okay, that's gonna take a lot of strength to throw a pancake, to toss a pancake that high.
So to toss is the action of throwing something. So sometimes when I want to toss a ball to you, I'm not throwing it at you, Matt. Maybe I'm just tossing it or
a little more carelessly. Without so much care, you just toss something.
Right. But in this case, and sometimes when we're cooking, you toss the pan. So in Chinese cuisine, when you have a wok, you stir fry, and then you'll see the action of tossing the pan. You're mixing all the ingredients, all the food in the pan. And in this case, you're tossing the pancake to flip it.
That's right, yeah.
So for an example, at the fair, he made a perfect toss of the ball and won a prize.
Wow, okay. So you're tossing maybe into into a target, into a hole.
A fishbowl.
Into a fishbowl, maybe. Okay, so that's great to have learned some things about pancakes, and I think we'll learn a lot more when we look at part 2 of this article next time. So we'll see you then.
接着我们来看看跟煎饼有关的世界纪录。世界上最大的煎饼宽15公尺，厚2.5公分。哇，如果让这片松饼站起来，大约是有5层楼高诶。课文就写到说，它的重量相当于1头非洲大象。由于它太大了，需要重型机械才能够翻转它，把它翻面这样子。好，那么补充单字 machinery， 它就是指机械、机器，它是总称，是不可数名词哦。那么 flip 这个动词它表示快速翻转，使什么快速翻转、迅速翻动。Kiki 老师提到说，那片松饼啊这么大，却才2.5公分，可能是很脆弱、容易破的，需要特殊的机械。那老师用到 flimsy 这个字 ，F-L-I-M-S-Y，flimsy 是形容脆弱的或是易损坏的。好，那课文最后写到说，在1999年，一位美国男子一边翻转煎饼，一边进行长跑竞赛，就是边跑边翻。那他只用了3个多小时就完赛了。然后接着在2010年，他还创下了抛煎饼的最高纪录，在空中呢大约是9.5公尺，抛了3-4层楼高诶。好，那么单字 toss 在这边当名词就表示抛、投或是投掷的距离。好，那么以上就是今天的讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。
Are you ready for a fun food adventure? We're about to dig into the wonderful world of pancakes. Prehistoric pancake. You might be surprised to learn that pancakes date back at least 5,200 years. An examination of Ötzi the Iceman, whose frozen body was found in the Italian mountains in 1991, showed that he had eaten an early kind of pancake. Snowy treats. Before baking soda was commonly used, some people used snow to cook their pancakes. The cold snow would turn to steam during cooking, and the steam would create air pockets and make the pancakes fluffy. A grand cake. The world's biggest pancake was 15 meters wide and 2.5 centimeters thick, and it weighed as much as an African elephant. It was so large that heavy machinery was needed to flip it. The Pancake Man. In 1999, an American man who was named Dominic Mike Kutsakria ran a long-distance race while flipping a pancake. He finished the race in just over 3 hours. Then, in 2010, he set a record for the highest pancake toss, around 9.5 meters in the air.
Today, we are taking a look at the Chiayi Sawmill. So you might be wondering, what's a sawmill? Well, we know what a saw is, right? It's used to cut things. In this case, they are cutting wood. And we know that wood is a very important thing in Chiayi. And a mill is a place where we process something using machinery. So in this case, we are processing wood. But Chiayi Sawmill is not an active sawmill anymore. It's more like a museum. Let's take a look. Chiayi used to be a really important place for forestry. Back during the Japanese rule period, the Japanese found that Alishan was rich in all kinds of forest resources. So at that time, they started to develop forestry. The Chiayi Sawmill was built way back in 1914. The sawmill was used for storing the wood from Alishan, and then they would process this wood into timber, which was the wood that was used for building homes and all kinds of things. It had the best machines to handle this process. However, in the 1960s, the authorities stopped logging. But as time went by, fewer and fewer people knew about the history of logging in Chiayi. So in order to bring the memory back, the Chiayi Sawmill was rebuilt. Now the Chiayi Sawmill has become a very great attraction, which shows lots of beautiful wood sculptures. And people now know how the Chiayi Sawmill used to work in the past. Although the Chiayi Sawmill no longer produces timber, its great history is well kept. And the newly opened Chiayi Sawmill collects these past priceless assets for visitors to enjoy. So historically, we know the importance of wood in Chiayi. And coming from the Alishan forest, wood plays a huge part in the history of Chiayi. So by taking a look at the sawmill, we can get to the roots of the people of Chiayi. You see what I did? The roots, like a tree. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.